And now I'll officially welcome you to this session on an observation model to promote teaching excellence by Allison O'Grady and Mandi Singleton. I've had the honor of spending just a few minutes with both these ladies this morning, and you are in for a real treat today. So ladies, I will turn it to you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your support and help. Thank you for being here today. So I'll kick it off. My name is Allison O'Grady, and I am the Director of Teaching and Learning at University College. Let's see, what else can I share? Originally from Georgia, living in Denver, have 3 kids under 5. That makes for a very fun home life, but really just excited to be here. I wasn't able to attend ELCC last year, and I love this community. So we're excited to share what we've been doing at University College. I'll let Mandi say hello.
Hi, I'm Mandi Singleton, and I'm a teaching and learning specialist at University College. And Allison and I have been working for a very long time on some of the things that we're going to share with you today, and hope to get some great feedback from you all. And I'm originally from Minnesota. I now live in Denver. Teaching is my world. My mom was a teacher for 43 years and love all things education. So we're excited to share some of our work with you today.
Great, thank you. I see folks coming in. Welcome to everyone. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Please say hello in the chat too. We would love to see who's kind of in the audience as well. Oh, there you go. No worries. I'm sure we have folks from all over, so feel free to say hello and share kind of your role. If you're at an institution or if you're at an organization, please let us know who's in the room. All right, next slide. Right. And we're kind of tag teaming the slides, just so you know. That's pretty typical. So we're going to kick it off and talk a little bit about University College. So University College is the School of Continuing and Professional Studies at the University of Denver. So we serve the adult student population. We have over 15 academic programs at the graduate and Bachelor of Completion level. Over 3,000 students. We're the largest graduate school at the University of Denver, which many don't even know who work at University of Denver. We have over, that's 499 adjunct faculty across the world. So we have faculty tuning in from all areas of the US and the world. We're on the quarter system. So some of these things will be important to think about as we're sharing kind of the model that we've developed. Most of our students have full-time jobs while they're attending school and families and all sorts of obligations, which is similar to our adjunct faculty. And that model works really well for us. 45% of students live outside of Colorado, 10% are veterans, and we could keep going. Basically, University College has doubled in size over the past few years, which is really great. We have a lot of partnerships too with Guild Education, bringing in folks who either did not finish their bachelor's degrees or want to earn a frontline management certificate, things like that. So we have lots of different populations of students. All right, next slide, perfect. And just wanted to share, I mean, a lot of this is related to creating a sense of belonging for our faculty. And so the world experienced COVID and kind of shut down and the pandemic, and we think COVID's over and it's not over. And so that plays into all of this. We are trying to create this culture for our adjunct faculty to allow them to have that sense of belonging at our institution, to feel like they're supported, to feel like they're growing as faculty. And we also want to align teaching excellence with competency areas and feedback for our instructors. So today, we're going to share 2 pieces of kind of our instructor journey or their experiences at University College. One is called our Teaching Excellence Program, and one is our observation model that we've developed. Okay, next slide, perfect. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our Teaching Excellence Program. So this program was created about 1.5 years ago. I was part of the creation team, and basically we used to have a program called Master Teacher, in which instructors kind of attended workshops and wrote a teaching statement, and they could earn a certificate at University College called a Master Teacher. The issue with that, though, was that there were not specific competency areas. So I felt a little uncomfortable when I took my position saying, you are a master teacher, without knowing that they are attending workshops and engaging in different areas of teaching. Because if you're only attending workshops related to writing or just grading or just teaching adults, then you're missing some of the other competency areas. So these were the 7 competencies that our program was built upon: student success, inclusive teaching. We use the Turabian Manual of Style, so our Manual of Style, whether that's APA, Turabian, grading and feedback, educational tech tools, instructional delivery, and teaching adults. We felt like all 7 of these areas are critical for success in terms of delivery and supporting our students. Perfect. Next slide. Okay, so in terms of the Teaching Excellence Program, here's just some information to give you background on the first year of the program. Ran from fall 2020 to summer 2021. We're about halfway through the second year of the program. We offer 4 quarters of workshops. So we offer workshops year round, and it's kind of fun. I feel like our faculty look forward to it because it's almost like the concert announcement of the year. It's like, they're like, what are the sessions coming out for next quarter? And so we offer unique workshops every quarter too, which is no easy task internally, but I think it's so important to constantly switch it up and provide new experiences for our instructors. All of the workshops have been held virtually. We're starting to offer some in-person options, but it's funny, our attendance skyrocketed over the pandemic. We were averaging before the pandemic, probably 10 to 15 people a workshop. And since the pandemic, around 30 to 40 people per workshop. And I think it's just easier for people to jump in and access the content and connect. So that's been great for us. It's a mix of self-paced content and live workshops. That's okay. That's okay. And so sometimes instructors are engaging in self-paced content where they're kind of working through learning about a tech tool. Sometimes they're participating in a live workshop. It really just all depends. And so other than that, I think that's mostly what I would share about the program in general. Except for we do invite our own adjunct faculty to facilitate some of these workshops. So we crowdsource, and I think that makes it some of a part of a community as well, is that occasionally we have facilitators who are peers to each other and saying, here's what I do in my classes, here's how it relates to this competency, here's what I've had success doing in my class. We also work with many partners around campus and in the local Denver area, usually to say, all right, this person has expertise in mental health. So can we have them come share strategies in working with students during the pandemic? Things like that are very interesting to our instructors. And then finally, the program is free. So anybody can be involved, and the workshop facilitators volunteer, which is great. Makes it kind of a crowdsourced feel-good program. So on the screen, you can see kind of the award categories and the values. So we do add a little bit of a monetary prize to each of these. So if instructors attend workshops in 2 competency areas, they earn a bronze reward. For silver, they have to attend workshops in 4 areas. And then going for the gold was really fun last year with the Olympics. In working towards 7 competencies. So if they attend workshops in all 7 areas in a given year, they earn $200, and they actually get a Credly badge that they can display in LinkedIn or in their signature. And that has been wildly successful too. They want to go for the gold, and they want to have that badge to be able to show other institutions that they are excellent teachers. And so the bronze gives $100, silver gives $150. And, it's a small monetary value, but I think it means a lot to our instructors. They're getting something out of this program, but honestly, I think the biggest takeaway is really the sense of camaraderie and community. Perfect. Next slide. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in terms of sample of workshops offered, so I'm happy to show some of the workshops. I can kind of rattle off some, but basically we offer the workshops between weeks 2 and 8 of the 10-week quarter. We don't want to be offering workshops when instructors are trying to kick off the term or finish final grades. That can be kind of stressful. So we try to keep it in the middle of the quarter. We offer various times. So after work, during the lunch hour, sometimes an 11 a.m. session. We try to offer different days so that if somebody has a commitment every day of every week, then they can still attend. But like I said, we average 30 enrollments in each session, and the workshops are really fun. I mean, every quarter, like I said, it's something different, but just to share a few examples, we've offered in the last year workshops related to facilitating synchronous sessions, ideas for taking Zoom sessions to the next level, what to do when students are struggling. So we've had our team of advisors come and give an overview of how to use the gradebook effectively, how to report students who may be falling behind. We've had some really cool sessions related to effective teaching methods and 7 ways of learning, evidence-based teaching strategies. So I could go on, and if we have time, I'm happy to share more specifics, but a lot of this is new to our instructors every quarter, and I think that's what makes the program special. All right, next slide. Perfect. Awards by the number, I just want to share in the last year what we accomplished. So we had 28 instructors earn bronze awards, 34 earn silver, and 29 earn gold. Now, I think when folks realized that you get the Credly badge for the gold awards in the last year, they all turned around this year and said, I want the gold award this year. So we did have 91 instructors who earned an award last year, which was incredible. It more than doubled in terms of it's almost like this badging concept is really motivating to our instructors. Mm-hmm. And they found kind of that sense of community in a pandemic, and they wanted to be connected. We also found that there were 55 instructors who took workshops but did not pursue an award, which was totally fine. It's all about the love of learning and the learning culture. So there are some instructors who aren't as interested in earning the awards and motivated by the badges, but they still want to come and learn. All right, next slide. Perfect. So in terms of adjunct faculty feedback on the program, I just want to share a few quotes. Program is excellent. I really enjoy meeting other faculty. This program is so important to help us guide success with students. I appreciate every time I can attend a session. My goal is always higher, but I will take what I can get for this year. I look forward to the spring quarter events already. The content is of very high quality. And so the instructors, we've captured tons of comments. They fill out a end of year survey in which they're giving us feedback, they're providing takeaways. So we're able to kind of get that data and improve the program every year. But I can share, again, if we have more time, I can share more about the program. But we've gotten some really wonderful feedback, which is great. All right, next slide. Perhaps the most exciting thing is that the data supports what we're doing. So we don't have our data team on the call today, which in the past I've had the data team here just to kind of talk through this. But at a very high level, what this means is that the TEP program, Teaching Excellence program, has had a positive impact on our student experience. And so we have seen directly from our course evaluations that instructors get higher ratings on their course evaluations and overall course ratings if they participate in the program, which was an amazing takeaway for us, and it validated what we are doing internally. So instructors with any level of the TEP award have outperformed instructors without a TEP status. And so we're continuing to kind of crunch that data and to look at the trends as we go, but that was super exciting in our first year. Okay, feel free to show the next slide.
Okay.
This is another kind of chart with more of the specifics for all of you data folks, but basically the correlation can be confirmed as statistically significant. And it's not significant for TEP award level, but it's significant in terms of yes, no, in participating in the program, if that makes sense. So we can always talk more about that, or you can email me if you want to learn more about the data piece. But that has been pretty important for us to be able to show our instructors that your participation matters to the student experience. All right. So in terms of big wins, data tracking, like I said, in the past, we hadn't been doing some of this data tracking comparison. We also use the Fresh Desk platform. We post our sessions and it's a searchable platform. They can also easily check their status. So we upload that data. If they need to know if they're missing one competency versus another, how far they have to go to get the gold, they can easily check their status. And so that work that we've done on the back end has kind of paid off for the user experience. We've been able to tie it to evaluations, which is great. We've had an increased rate of participation over the last year and a half. We've streamlined the registration. So we send out reminders ahead of time with any slides and materials. It's easier for them to register and sign up. We send reminders. We've just worked really hard on making it a seamless experience. Okay, next slide.
All right.
And then what we've learned for next year. So we're kind of in the next half year, but we've really tried to involve the academic directors more. So they are the ones who hire the faculty and recruit the faculty. And we really want them to be more involved and more present in the sessions and talking about our sessions. So we've done a good job of kind of partnering with them. We're reporting out to our adjuncts regularly about what this means, what our workshops are. We're seeking feedback from them too, to say, how could we improve? And then we're trying to create that sense of community. So we're constantly trying to highlight, here are our gold award members, here's the silver award members. This is so exciting. In every faculty meeting, we have the directors highlighting, like, here are your peers, and here are the people who are attending and achieving these levels. So creating kind of that positive, motivating culture has been really important to us. And in the future, we're going to continue to look at mixed modalities, scaffolding workshops, some of those things. But it's all about the connections, and we feel pretty confident that this has been a great program for us. So with that,
Excellent.
I will pass
Thank
it
you,
over to
Allison.
Mandi. Sure.
So in this look at the teaching excellence programs and those 7 competency areas, we were wondering how we could observe in the classes or in our courses some of the things that instructors were taking away from the TEP workshops. So we worked on putting together a new instructor observation process for University College to meet HLC requirements, but also for our own information to kind of inform our practices, like our onboarding of those adjunct faculty, and also inform more of our TEP workshops that we're offering, and even help with our the instructional designers pairing with SMEs in the industry as well. So in this instructor observation process, the goals of it were to have some strong documentation and tracking to link our adjunct faculty onboarding and our teaching evaluations and our teacher development TEP program in the overall adjunct faculty life cycle at University College. So we wanted to create a clear pipeline to teaching development opportunities and tracking of their growth over time, and also provide a framework to retain adjunct faculty by promoting their growth community for them, connecting them to the university and to other instructors. And then recognizing them for their efforts, and provide more opportunities for involvement in the University College community for instructors who are involved in this. And so this new observation framework that we have come up with means all new instructors are going to be observed during the first quarter that they teach, and once again within the first year that they teach, if applicable. And so we want to be able to see where they come in as a baseline, like what our onboarding does for them, and then we also want to see that growth within that first year. All instructors must be observed once every 3 years following that first year of teaching, and that these observations can be conducted by the teaching and learning specialist team or the directors or a combination of them. And they will collaborate for follow-up steps on whether there's coaching needed with an instructor or other things that we can offer with our TEP program. So in our observation process, there is a 30-minute pre-conference before the quarter begins with the instructor, and this can be the director and one of us teaching and learning specialists and the instructor, or just a teaching and learning, or one and the other with the instructor, looking at the rubric that we use, that we have created for the observation process. So there's a 30-minute pre-conference where we look over the rubric together and ask, like, what do you think might be challenging for you? What do you think will be, you think you can do very easily? What does the rubric make you think about? What do you want to focus on for the quarter? So the instructor has the opportunity to speak into kind of setting some goals for teaching and connecting with their students. And then we conduct an observation between weeks 5 and 8, somewhere in there. We look through the container if it's an online setting. We can attend a session if it's on campus now that we're back to having some on-campus courses or our hybrid courses. And we just kind of want to look through all the ways that instructors are engaging with students and providing all those best practices that we have identified in the rubric. And then there's a 30-minute post-conference after the quarter ends, where the instructor actually fills out a self-assessment with the rubric. And we take a look at the student evaluations of the teacher in the course, the self-assessment, and the observation assessment all at the same time. And we kind of talk about what things do we find in common, what things were different. Did you interpret how your quarter went the same way students interpreted how the quarter went, and have some conversations around those things, and that we're meeting what students want in their courses. So in 3 pilot quarters so far, we have observed 57 adjunct faculty across 7 different programs and in multiple modalities. So most of the courses that we have observed in the pilot process have been asynchronous courses, but there have been a couple of synchronous and hybrid mixed in there as well. So we think we're reaching a lot of our adjunct faculty. We're seeing what's happening in our courses, and this has been very valuable in informing what types of workshops we're offering, because we've always just said, oh, these 7 different competency areas are great, but specifically, what are those target areas that we were looking for? And so this rubric and being in the courses and observing what's happening in them really gives us a lot more information. So in our rubric that we have created, we had this big what is teaching conversation with a whole bunch of people across the learning experience design team and with our directors, and we identified 4 main dimensions or domains that we call them to kind of for the rubric framework, essentially. And so we came up with the affective area, which is where instructors are fostering a safe, inclusive, and respectful learning environment for a diverse population of students. The content knowledge, or we call it a cognitive area, where instructors are demonstrating their mastery of and pedagogical expertise in the content that they are teaching. The managerial piece, which is, hitting deadlines and making sure they're giving feedback on time and answering emails, that instructors are planning and delivering effective instruction and creating an environment that facilitates learning for their students through just those structure basics. And then finally, the technical piece, like, are they utilizing the technology within, we have a Canvas learning management system, are they using the tools appropriately? So instructors are integrating and utilizing appropriate available technology to engage students in effective learning experiences. So these were kind of the main domain areas, and then we came up with performance indicators within each of these domains. And so we do have a little rubric snapshot here that I'll take you through, and then I'll actually show you the actual rubric that we have, because it has become very complex in many, many iterations that we've gone through, with lots of feedback from instructors and the directors and the learning experience design team. So we have decided to include some examples on our rubric, because a lot of instructors, especially if they were brand new to teaching, really wanted some more concrete examples of what these competency areas in the rubric might look like in the classroom. We have 3 performance indicators: exemplary, proficient, and developing, because we want to make sure that we're recognizing brand new instructors in the field might be developing, and that is perfectly okay, because it takes a while to develop your teaching expertise. And then we have the proficient category, where ideally we would love all of our instructors to be. And then that exemplary category of those instructors who are really going above and beyond and doing some really great things in their courses that we wanted to recognize as well. And then we have aligned the indicators for each criteria area. So I'm going to stop sharing this for a second, and I am actually going to share the rubric itself, so you can see kind of a larger picture. Yes,
I was going to
Allison.
say, while you're doing that, there was a question about our roles again, and instructors being assessed by the learning team. So yeah, Denise, the instructors are assessed either by a teaching and learning specialist or an academic director.
Or a combination.
And actually the combination is really great, because we can collaborate, sit down together, and look through it together.
Yes. And that's a really great, especially with a rubric where some things can be a little more subjective than we would like, that it really helps to calibrate with a second person to see that it makes sense. Like, do you see what I see? Would you consider this, the same as what I consider it? And so this is what our rubric looks like. It is, like I said, we have the 3 competency areas, and then we have these performance indicators under each. So if you see, we have a performance indicator of building relationships across each of the 3 performance areas. And so we have builds inclusive community with students. And then again, we have those examples over on the side. Demonstrates a clear investment in student success, with examples listed on the side. And then here is the content knowledge cognitive area. So we have demonstrating subject matter expertise, relating real world examples, and then challenging students and developing that critical thinking in their students, supporting their subject area. And then in the managerial category, we decided there are some things that are more like checkboxy, like, are you answering emails in 24 hours is not necessarily like on that spectrum of a rubric where there may be different performance indicators. It's either you're doing it or you're not. So in this area, we have a couple of the checkboxes in that way, that they're delivering their feedback within 7 days, which is one of our teaching expectations at University College. So that is one of those that we consider either they're doing it or not. So it's kind of in its own little category underneath there. And then, using the Trabian, as Allison mentioned, we use Trabian and formatting at University College. So are they using that to give feedback to students? Are they giving comprehensive and specific feedback to students? They're facilitating content, and then their availability to students, and are they being flexible in times like during the pandemic? And then finally, in the technical category, it's their use of Canvas tools and utilizing video and audio to really expand on that learning experience. And then we also wanted to recognize, again, those instructors who are participating in our teacher development opportunities. So we have this as kind of a separate area of the rubric, just to capture what instructors are doing. And remember, at the end of the observation process, instructors are doing a self-assessment with this rubric. So they are able to speak into each of these areas and how they felt each of these areas were met within the rubric. So there's a comment section under each of these as well. Any other questions in there, Allison?
No, there's been some wonderful discussion, lots of questions about how we kind of handle it, how we frame it to our faculty, and especially in working with adjuncts. I mean, it is a little bit easier than with full-time faculty. And we, on the last iteration of this rubric, even in working with our chairs or our academic directors, we had over 125 comments to go through. So
Yes.
everyone in our department really cares about this and really wants this to feel good for our instructors. And Mandi's going to share some feedback from the instructors in terms of what she's been hearing. But so far, it's been relatively positive, which is great.
Yes, and from everyone I have spoken to or been a part of this process with, they've all been, number one, craving the feedback, and they think the rubric is very tangible and helps them with that piece, but I'll get to those more specific comments in a minute. So the data possibilities from conducting the observations is to update our onboarding process. Like we said, if we capture those instructors that we are hiring on in that first quarter, and we can see, is our onboarding process as effective as we want it to be? What are some things we could tweak about that? It also informs those workshops, as we mentioned, for the teaching excellence programs, because now we know specifically what is and is not happening in courses, and encouraging those best practices as much as we can. And then it also assists with decisions in instructor scheduling. The directors have said it makes it much easier for them to look through instructor information and having those conversations with instructors and deciding who will be teaching courses in upcoming quarters. So that's all the places that the data we're collecting from courses is informing us of right now.
Yeah, so I think the most important piece on that is these two programs work together. These two initiatives work together, because now that we have the data on the observations, when we are looking to set the schedule for the teaching excellence program, we can see where the gaps are and what we need to cover more, and what instructors what they need to work on. So in the past, it was kind of like, oh, the team is guessing this would be great to create a workshop in this area. But if we're seeing across the board, grading and feedback is a huge problem, then we are able to actually pull that data and design a session that's customized.
Right. So some of the instructor feedback of this, of the process has been, this first one was one of my very favorite, that they said the teaching expectations were clear in the onboarding process, but the rubric made it much more tangible to them, that they had those actual examples and they were able to see specifically where they were going with their teaching development. They said the observation process was non-intrusive and gave them the feedback that they needed. Somebody else said, I only wish I would have had it before the first quarter that I taught. I wish I would have had the rubric before the first quarter that I taught. That the rubric really gives them direction, because people often strive to be exemplary in everything, and now they know how to get there through teaching. And then just the other day in a conversation with an instructor, they said, it's really important for me to receive this feedback on how I'm doing. Like, I love hearing from the students. I loved hearing from you. It just gave me a lot to think about. And, now I know what I want to change for next quarter that I teach. So we would like to hear from any of you. We have put together a Google Doc that we're going to share. Allison, if you could drop that in the chat. What sort of things do some of you look for to measure good teaching? Because we are very much still in a pilot with this observation process, and we love getting new feedback. And we're still in the process of, we're doing iterations of this rubric. So what do you look for to measure good teaching? Do you think what we have on our rubric, have we captured it? Or is there something we're missing? And then what types of competencies do you think are important in faculty development? So if you wouldn't mind jumping into that Google Doc and adding your ideas, then I will, I'll stop sharing this and go over to the Google Doc so we can see what you are adding into.
Yeah, that would be great. We're continuing to work on the entire kind of instructor journey and the ecosystem, because we really want to retain our faculty. So it's important to connect onboarding to, the observations, the expectations, and then the professional development that they're getting. So we've worked really hard in the last few years to try to connect all these points and make it a seamless experience for instructors. So yes, I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say in terms of what you're doing.
So I'm seeing for some of this good teaching, the inclusion of student success, excellent. Understanding the underlying process of learning, students being able to apply and communicate understanding.
Awesome.
yes, being present in the course and there for the students. Yes, that engagement is so important.
That was
And
a
then,
question in the chat,
yes.
is what we
Okay.
look at during the
Mhm.
observations. So Mandi, I don't know if you want to expand on that.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
not just discussion boards.
No, it's we have an introductory discussion. We ask our instructors to do an introductory welcome video that we look at. We ask them to do announcements each week, that they're kind of giving students a heads up about what's coming up, or maybe they're doing a little reteach of something the week before. So we look at all of the videos and or audio pieces that instructors are putting into their courses. It's the discussion boards. It's looking at the feedback that they're giving within the grade book. It might be interactions in email. It might be interactions, like I said, just anywhere else in the container where instructors and students would be interacting. And then in the classroom itself, we look for, are they doing team building activities at the beginning of class? And are they, are they strategically grouping students based on, different needs of the students in an asynchronous environment? It might be, are you paying attention to like time zones of students, like making it easier for them to be able to get together, things like that. Just anything that instructors are doing to intentionally plan for a good student experience.
Yes. And the intention of the rubric too is that they are not going to all be in the exemplary category. It's about growth. And we communicate that to instructors to say, look, we don't expect you to be this amazing, perfect instructor, but here's the proficient category is kind of what we expect in terms of our baseline expectations. Here's what you can aspire to. And I think instructors like to see that because they don't always know. So we're putting it out there for them to say, here's how you grow in all of these different areas. And here's examples of how to accomplish that.
Right. And I think the biggest stakeholder is the instructor. And so the fact that they get to do the self-assessment and really speak into the process themselves. And I've heard from a lot of them, like actually going through that process and reading in detail each of those categories within the rubric really makes them think about, they said it was so much fun to like reflect on the quarter and like, did I really do this thing? Did I not? They said it made them just reflect a lot more deeply about their teaching experience.
And one of the biggest things that Mandi has had, you were telling me about this the other day, so I want to share it, is that there's a big difference in terms of what instructors think is going on in the class and what students are actually saying on the back end. So making sure that we have that post conversation after these student evaluations come back has been an aha moment for the process, because they're saying like, oh, I'm great, people love me, I was super engaged. And then we read the evaluations, and then you can have a conversation about that of, students didn't really think that.
Right.
Like, why do you think, this happened? And it allows us to kind of get to that next level.
Yeah, so we have that conversation about, we look at their self assessment, and then we also look at the student evaluations, and we say, what were some common themes? Is how you interpreted it the same as students did? Why do you think that was the same? Why do you think that was different? Like, what sort of things were you doing that students really enjoyed? What sort of things do you see in the student evaluations that, we could maybe change up for the next quarter? So I think having that conversation and an actual conversation about that is extremely important to the development of faculty.
Absolutely. Excellent replies here. I know we only have about 5 minutes left. But yeah, you'll have access to this Google Doc, and I can't wait to dig into this a little bit more.
And Allison, while I'm sharing here, did you want to go over some of the TEP workshops?
Yes, I actually copied it into a Google Doc because I wasn't sure if people could see this, but yes, let me know if you have any questions, but I shared the titles and the sample attendance rates, but yeah, all of these are connected to each of those competencies. And I wanted to share if you click on the instructor feedback tab at the very bottom, there you go. I think it just speaks to the program, and we've had a lot of great success in knowing that our instructors want to be there, and they've created this camaraderie, and they feel like they're learning. So it's almost put a lot more pressure on us to hear how excited they are about the program.
They said there's always a great little nugget takeaway from every program that they attend. So
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, in terms of wrapping up, we want to make sure that if anybody else has questions, I'm still replying in the chat to a few people, but we really just appreciate you being here today. We'll try to share everything in the Discord link. Thank you for our fantastic moderator. And thank you for asking questions and participating in the Google Doc. We've had some great success, but we know that it's still a work in progress.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And thank you for all of your questions in the chat and your comments on this. And we are really looking forward to your feedback in that Google Doc for things you want to share with us about what your thoughts about the teaching and learning process.
Sure thing. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, there was another question about, oh yeah, for Discord chat. Thank you, Stacy.
Okay.
Stacy
Yes.
has a lot of questions. So yeah, we can chat in Discord about how we kind of manage our courses and what that looks like. But yeah, happy to share what we're doing. But thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
And thanks to you both for a great session today. Thanks to all of you who attended and participated. And we look forward to seeing you in the next session.
Awesome.